Hello, Dills and Heartless. Stumpy Nigel here. Quick note for Dills: the pronunciation is Ardoin, not Ardone or Ardogne. But it's okay. Mispronunciation of words is your signature move at this point, and I think we all love to hear it. Congratulations on the baby. Keep up the good work to both you and Heartless. It's great to hear you chatting about RuneScape every week. And here's to the next 200 episodes. See you later, lads.
Welcome to episode 200 of the Wilderness Podcast. I'm Dills, and as always, Heartless, how are you doing?
What's up, Dills? I'm doing well.
So this is episode 200. It's a big milestone. It's max XP if we were doing it in the millions, right? 200 mil experience. And by the way, remember when Lynx Titan was like the first player to get 200 mil experience and everything?
Mm-hmm.
Little fun note. The front page of the high scores is now filled with people who have 200 mil experience in every single skill.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's insane. That's a lot of RuneScape. People have broken down the numbers of like how much you need to play in order to achieve that. If you were to do like EHP, the most efficient, and it's like, I can't remember, but it's a lot. It's like 8 hours a day since RuneScape started or something like that. Like it's like unbelievable hours. But
yep.
Scapers gonna escape.
And I'm sure people play this. Some of those guys play even more than that. So yeah.
I watched a friend has an old video where he was like calculating how much hours he's dumped into this game. And he actually had this, like, he talked to somebody who is like the number one. He holds the record for the most hours played on an account at the time. So this video is probably like 3 years old now. If I find it, I'll link it in the description. But he averaged out to like 14 hours or like 12 hours a day, maybe 8 hours a day. As I say this, I'm like, I can't believe it, but I know I'm going to go watch it and it's going to be something crazy, like 14 hours a day every single day since 2004. Like, crazy hours. So much. He played so much that Jagex has given him membership for life for free, which I'm sure helps the addiction. That's exactly what he needs.
I'm sure that helps.
Yeah. Oh boy, I got a lot of hours myself, but that's just what happens. That's just what time flies when you're having fun. Apparently,
that seems to be a little bit more than fun, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
So, episode 200. We got some fun little things. We're gonna do a little bit of reflecting on the podcast. Normally we tease like what news we're gonna talk about, but I'll be honest. I'm on baby duty in like T-minus 45 to an hour. So we'll see how far we get. So we might not even jump into the news. That might have to come next episode. And we also I'm gonna be having a bonus episode coming out after this one. I'll talk about it shortly, but I was going to feature it in here. It was like this recording I did with some other people, and then it turned out to go on for like over an hour, and I was like, that's a long segment to just like include into an episode. It'll be a bonus episode that falls after, in between 200 and 201. But yeah, we've been away for a couple of weeks. I've been super busy. Career stuff has kind of taken over my life for a little bit. So we had to keep pushing things back. So there is a bunch of news to talk about. So whenever we get to that, this episode or 201, so there's some pretty exciting stuff coming down the pipeline. But yeah, I guess before we dive into the Wilderness Podcast in review, or the reflectiveness of it, is there anything that you want to talk about that you've been up to? Anything special going on with Heartless?
Are you talking about like in game or in real life?
Whatever.
No, real life is pretty much business as usual. In game, let's see. We were playing some Magic the other night. Sadly, we haven't played as much Magic as I would have liked in recent months, but it's nice to get a session in. I was mining Amethyst in the background, and I got a clue geode, a medium clue. I was like, I'll send it on the side. Ranger boots out of the medium clue.
Oh, shit.
Yep.
And you were like, way over the drop rate, right?
Yeah, 2.5 times, I think.
Wow.
So 677 just on a random clue geode. But yeah, it's pretty sweet. So it's nice to have those out the way.
Finally, the best in slot boots, right? You already had the crystal, I bet.
Yeah, I did. Well, I had the just regular Blessed D'Hide boots before. They're pretty minimal upgrade, but at some point, like a best in slot's a best in slot, and they look cool. So yeah, it's really, cool. Really hot. I was super excited. The guys were freaking out. They were like, they thought I'd got a third Ellie or something. Like, no, just Ranger boots.
It's an Ellie to you, yeah.
Yeah, basically. So anyways, that was cool. That's basically all I've been up to. It's just those activities.
Pretty cool stuff. Yeah. Magic, it's funny because Commander, I'm having this like, it's like a conflict where like I haven't really been able to play a whole lot of Magic recently because like you got you got a couple people addicted to Magic and you kind of got me sucked in as well. I avoided it for so long in my life, knowing that I had a bit of an addiction to Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So I was like, I don't have the money for so much fun. But it was like I kind of have an addiction when it comes to like trading cards and video games and other things. So I was always like, I gotta stay away from Magic because I don't have the money for it. And then eventually got me sucked in. And then I was like, oh, I know why it's so expensive because it's so much fun. But the thing I find so difficult with Commander, it's like if the games are like an hour long, aren't they?
Minimum.
Minimum.
Yeah, it's like a 2-hour session, I would say. If you're sitting down for like a Commander night, I'd say it's average going to run 3 hours if you're going to play 2 games. You might have a long game would be like 2 hours, and a shorter game would be maybe an hour. Maybe 45 minutes if someone's really zooming.
Right. Yeah. I guess if you're really honed in on winning as soon as possible. Yeah. So it's tough. Like I've been wanting to like rip some. I got another Precon deck and I wanted to test it out, but it's like, man, I don't know. It's kind of like the Inferno. I don't know when I got the 2 hours to commit to it.
Yeah, that's the problem, which is why we tend to do it like once every couple weeks. Just get a Friday night session in. I used to go to the stores quite a lot and play, and it would be like Thursday nights or something, like a weekday. So I would come home, and that would just be my night where I, we just kind of fend for ourselves at home. My girlfriend just does her thing, and I'll go out and do my thing.
Nice, yeah, that's good.
It was pretty nice. But yeah, since COVID, I haven't really been to the stores as much. I went a couple times, but it's not quite the same.
Yeah, I could imagine that. I went to my second pre-release. I think it was a week ago, 2 weeks ago. I can't remember. But it was the Neo Kamigawa. Is that it?
That's a really good set.
It was really fun, and the pre-releases are a lot of fun. Where you go in there, you get to open like 6 packs of cards. You got to build a deck out of 40 cards. Then you just play against people in like a round robin tournament sort of deal. Yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah, that set is particularly cool too. Such nice artwork.
Yeah, it is.
Anything else new? How's the baby?
You know what? I've mentioned a few episodes ago that I was like, oh, the baby's in this stage where I'm going to be able to get my Inferno Cape. Like it's more like I get the Inferno Cape now before he grows up and he's walking around and he's talking back. You know, he got an attitude problem. That's coming down the line. Like I get the Inferno Cape before that happens. And so I got all the gear for it. I really thought I was gonna be able to start sending them, but I just haven't. And it's the same thing with like Commander, where it's like I might have maybe 2 hours, and I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to spend the 2 hours I have free tonight locked into the Inferno, something that I can't really quit. Like you can pause it. There's like a way to pause and take a break, but that doesn't seem ideal. So I just haven't stepped in yet, but I've been kind of doing the mini Inferno, also known as the Fight Caves, on my Pure though. I've had this 1 defense Pure. I've been like slowly getting it to where I want over the years. And one of the things that I wanted to do was, well, one, start training melee, but I wanted to, before I trained my melee stats on my Pure, I wanted to get the Fire Cape on it. And that's not like particularly hard. Well, I thought it wasn't. And holy smokes, it is pretty damn hard on a 1 defense Pure. I always said that like doing the Fight Caves, it's like, it's not a fight against Jad, it's a fight against yourself because you get so nervous and you usually mess up your prayers and you die. And I think that's largely true. But when I was doing it on my pure, I forgot how tough like the 50 to 60 waves are when you're having the level 3, the 360 major, you have the 180 meteor, and then you got the ranger as well. And I'm sure this has a lot to do with having one defense, but the ranger shreds through my pure. Like, it screws me up. And I've tried 4 times now and I haven't been able to beat it. And it's kind of sad because he literally has the best items it could have. He's got literally ranger boots. He's got the blowpipe with rune darts, not dragon darts, but rune darts. He's got blood barrage spells. He's got a T-bow, for God's sakes. Yeah, T-bow. And still,
you have to have a bit about you to get a pure cape for sure. You need to know how to flick, because you can't just tank the rangers. They hit quite hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, because usually on like if you have 40 defense or something, you can just easily tank the rangers and just kind of work your way through the waves.
Mm-hmm. Fair.
Yeah, it gets a lot tricky. When I did fire capes when I had a blowpipe on task, I just kind of sit in the middle of the room and just smash everything out quite quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's quite a bit different when you're with when you only have one defense.
Yeah, it definitely took me by surprise by how much I actually struggled with that. So no fire cape yet on my pure. I'm sure that's coming down the line, but I did have a pretty big win since we last recorded. And it also had the excitement that comes with like getting your first fire cape. And that was from Fasani's Nightmare. I got my first Fasani's Nightmare kill.
Oh, congrats, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I had died 69 times before I got my first kill.
Oh my God.
Dude. So it was a lot. It was quite a bit. People I would talk to like, dude, don't worry if you're struggling. It took me 40 deaths before I got it. And I was like, wow, I'm almost double that. But I was committed and I eventually got it and it felt really good. I was like shaking. My hands were sweaty. I was like, it was a really good feeling to actually complete that. And it was one of the funnest. I think it's the most fun piece of content that I've done in a really, really, really long time on Old School RuneScape. Because even though I died 69 times, it never felt like a slog. I was still motivated to keep sending it every time I died. And I even died and lost like 60 mil once because I forgot to claim my items from the death storage and I died somewhere else.
I remember that. That's great.
Yeah. But it's funny, once I got that first kill, every kill after that, it's been gravy. So I'm at like 15 kills, I think now. The fights are they're like 10 minutes long, so they can be quite long fights. But
that'll be good. We'll have to talk about it when I start learning Nightmare. I've done one Nightmare kill in a mass world, so I really don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I wonder if you'll enjoy it. Fasani's is a lot. I really liked it, so I'm curious to hear how much you enjoy it when you get there.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
It is a good piece of content. So I think that's pretty much my RuneScape life in a nutshell. I haven't been going super hard, but I've been bouncing around between my pure, my main, and my ultimate Iron Man again because, well, we'll talk about it this episode or next, but we got a new item coming out for the 10 HP accounts that got me a little bit excited for it. But yeah, we'll talk about it soon. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. So yeah, normally we would kind of go right into the news at this point, but before we do that, it's episode 200. Been doing the podcast since 2016 now, and it's been quite the journey. Heartless, you joined the show on episode 150 of all episodes, 50 episodes ago.
Holy, really?
Yeah, it almost doesn't seem that way, but like that's over a year though, right? Because if we don't always release episodes weekly anymore, just because life gets busy, but 52 episodes would have been a year. So it's been over a year at this point since we've been doing the show. And it like almost doesn't even feel that way, which is crazy. But I went back to listen to see if I could pull any fun little clips. But it was a lot of it was interesting because when we first did episode 150, it was the first episode since the pandemic happened. So we were kind of talking about what's happening with COVID, I guess how it's affecting our lives. And this was kind of fresh into it. I can't remember. It was a few months into, the pandemic. So everything was pretty crazy. Yeah, it's interesting. Like you really joined at such an odd time for the world, but also it was also like a kind of it was the beginning of a content drought in RuneScape, but at the same time there was a huge boom of like players during the pandemic. Like I guess people just being stuck at home, like prices of everything started to shoot up. I remember there was like a huge increase in value of a lot of items.
Yeah, when dragon boots were like 400K or something.
Oh man, were they really? That's insane.
Yeah, there was so many people playing. It was a good time for sure. Yeah, the world was kind of locked down.
And I went back and listened to some of the older episodes to kind of hear. I want to know what my thoughts were when it came to like some of other big pieces of content. Because when I first started the show, I was a pretty big noob. I would talk to some people who joined the clan or joined the Discord server, and they would say like how they would listen to the show and how they either at one point felt I was a very big gamer. Like I was like really knowledgeable in terms of RuneScape. And then they either learned it's not true, or they still kind of thought that. And which I always thought was so funny because I remember that when the show started, I was so set on not leveling my defense past 70 because I wanted to be like an optimal PK build. So I wasn't even able to do PVM content because I would just get destroyed by everything. So it's kind of funny to just like think. Whereas now I'm still pretty bad. I'm pretty bad at this game considering I have. Let me see how much time played I have. I have 308 days. What is that? Over 7,000 hours. Holy shit. That's a lot of time. I'm still pretty bad at this game. Considering that I have over 7,000 hours of in-game time played. And the saying is it takes 1,000 hours to learn a new skill, and it takes 10,000 hours to become a master at that skill. And there is no way I'm going to be a master at this game by the time 10,000 hours rolls around.
Will you be maxed? That's the real question.
I don't think so. I have like these bursts of like I'm going to max, and then I start maxing, and then I get very, very bored. It's just not very fun to do.
It's very slow. I've also been thinking about it's starting to cross my mind recently.
Do you think you could sit down and be like, I'm going to max by the end of 2022?
I don't want to. No, I actually, could I? Maybe. It would be tight. It would be close. I could probably get there by the end of this year, but I would be able to do no PVM, which is what I love. So my kind of plan is that I'll max in 2 years instead of 1.
Mm-hmm.
So currently I've sort of mapped out like, okay, last month I got from 92 to 93 mining. So, maybe in 10 months, I'll get 99 mining, just kind of doing it casually like I am at Amethyst. And that'll be one of the 3 big... I really think maxing comes down to agility, mining, and rune crafting. Even on an Ironman, like I basically have 99 Herblore, and prayer will be a little bit annoying, but it won't be that bad. Mm-hmm. It really comes down to the big 3 for like any account.
That's fair.
So I think getting those out of the way earlier would help the motivation. So I think I'll try and, take it slow, do mining first, then work on rune crafting, and then maybe leave agility for near the end. Well, we'll see. I know some people have done that before, but yeah, it's really those 3 skills. Hopefully the new rune crafting minigame makes it like quite fun.
Yeah, that's the important one because all 3 of those skills are quite boring and quite slow to train. Agility, you do have Hallowed Sepulchre, but is it 100 hours plus of fun? Probably not.
Yeah, that's the thing. So it is tough. The rest of the skills like are relatively easy by comparison. I mean, Slayer is slow, but if you play the game for ages, you'll get 99 Slayer.
Yeah, and that's the way I've always seen it. Is like, and I see the same with as making an Iron Man. Every now and then, I'm like, I should jump on an Iron because I don't like the early game. Like the early game, I get bored of it. But I'm like, if I just start playing it now, I'll be closer to the end game, which is what kind of sounds appealing to me. But at the same time, I know if I just don't play the Iron Man, or if I don't focus on maxing, they're going to eventually keep coming out with content that's going to be fun to do, like rune crafting. I already have 99 rune crafting, but if I didn't, having this new mini game as a way to train it sounds great. And same thing with mining. I think eventually they're going to come out with mining, something to do with mining that's actually more engaging and fun. And I think thieving is a big one. Thieving is, you mentioned the big three because they're the slowest, but I also find, which is going to sound crazy, but I find thieving and construction both very hard to train. Construction's really fast. I was doing like 600k experience an hour, 500k experience an hour because I wanted to blast through a few levels. But like after like 15, 20, 30 minutes, I was like, I'm so bored. This is like, this is so not fun.
It's kind of like smithing, you know, like it's not very fun, but it's fast. So
that's exactly.
It's only, you know, plus. Same with like cooking. It's kind of, at least cooking is like kind of AFK. Same with like Herblore.
Yeah, those you can like watch something on the side. You can play like Magic Arena.
All the Bibles are pretty easy to do. But yeah, the gathering skills also take a little bit more time. But they tend to be more AFK at least.
Yeah, which is
it is tricky. Nice. But you can't just really sit down and say, okay, what are you gonna do today? Oh, I'm gonna max. It's like, no, it's more like a plan. You know, you're gonna do it in the future, and this is sort of your path. So I guess I've just started to put the path in front of me rather than, you know, say I'm going to max. I'm just kind of putting in the pieces to see what route I want to take to get there. I always found, even for like PVM and just like general account progression, having some kind of path or like things to work towards are quite helpful.
Yeah, that's good. And it helps that PVM is actually really fun to do. Like I said, yes. I've dumped so much time into Sonny's Nightmare, and it's like to get a kill, it's at least 10 minutes. But I had fun every time, even without getting any kills, it was still enjoyable. So super, super important there. Circling back to the podcast, right? So yeah, it's been a bit of a journey, and even just listening to myself in older episodes before you were on the show, and then I listened to the episodes where you were on the show as well. I feel like us as like podcasters, our podcast level has gone up. I was like listening, and I was like earlier episodes, I was listening to them, and I was like, this is so hard to listen to. I'm trying to grab clips, but it's just like taking so long for me to get to like certain points. And I'm like talking about this movie I saw on Saturday, and the movie was okay.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, we definitely get distracted, don't we?
It's funny. It wasn't. It was like I noticed from those earlier episodes to now, and I'm like, oh, I feel like we have grown as podcasters, which is really nice. Now, I have always been on the lookout, Heartless. You did a podcast before this for League of Legends, right? What was it called?
The Trinity Force podcast.
Trinity Force podcast.
So you're lucky. I came with like 3 years of experience when I joined you.
Yeah, I'm lucky, and I've been on the lookout for like I always like to grab bloopers when I find them, and like whenever we maybe just say something that sounds kind of silly, and then you can pull it out of context. But I have never been able to grab one from you when you talk, and it's like it's probably because you were doing this beforehand.
I haven't dropped a blooper yet. That's disappointing.
Yeah, like nothing that's like. Because normally the blooper I edit it out because it sounds so friggin' awful, and I'm gonna play a few in a bit. And to be fair, there hasn't been a lot of bloopers over the years. There's been 4, and since like you came on the show, I've only ever been able to pull one blooper from myself, which was episode 198. It was recently, but for the most part, they're hard to find these days. They're very rare. It's like a pet drop. And I'm one of these days I'm gonna be able to grab one. It's gonna be gold that you're gonna drop. I don't know when that's going to happen, but
I'll try not to disappoint.
So anyways, we'll play a few of the bloopers that I've had here. And some of them go back. There's 4 of them. There are 4 bloopers here. 3 of them are me. And then one of them is Deegan. So when I first started the show, I did it with Deegan, who was my brother. And then he eventually got bored of the game and quit, which is an all too common story. Magpies, who also came on the show for a bit, also quit because he got bored. I don't know if he got bored of the game, but people step away from RuneScape. But we have not succumbed to that yet. We're still going strong, which means I still have time to grab a blooper from you. But till then, we'll take a stroll down memory lane. Now, I'm not sure if I want to do this from oldest to newest, or if I should do it in my my least favorite to my favorite. We'll get through it. We're gonna start the first one off with Deegan. You've only ever been able to grab one from him, but I always thought this one was kind of silly. He's talking about the duel arena, and he keeps calling it the staking arena, and he keeps flip-flopping the 2 words, and he's mixing them up a bunch. and then he does a retake, and then he screws it up even more the first time. So let's quickly play that.
Are you playing it from your phone into your microphone?
No, I got it hooked up to my little mixer here.
Oh, cheeky soundboard. Okay, nice. Yeah. I was going to say, usually I can't hear anything and I just have to react based on what I think is going on. Like, oh, that was a great track, Dills. I just have heard blank for like 60 seconds. It's a little shout out for the people who don't know how we record.
I used to have like this little setup where I would be able to hit buttons and the music would play. We'd actually have to sit through the intro, and then it just became a lot more setup. And I was like, I'll just add these in. It's just easier, more efficient. But then
that's true. It reminds me of one of my favorite podcasts. It's called The Commander's Brew. They're kind of like a janky Magic podcast. They have 300 episodes, and they just kind of broke up finally. Like life caught up to them. They're a bit older than we are.
Fair.
But my God, they're both comedians, stand-up comedians, and they do so many good bits. But early on in their seasons, early on in their episodes, the one guy used to do, they're sponsored by this place called the Wizard's Tower, and he would do advertisements pretending to be a magic card.
Okay.
Or like a character within a magic world. And he'd be a funny accent, or he'd be like, I don't know, a street sweeper in Ravnica, and he's complaining about all the zombies that have shown up.
That's awesome.
So he'd always come up with like a funny advertisement and then say, okay, go shop at this place that sponsors us. And it was always funny. Mm-hmm. And then his partner, who had never heard the ad, but it had just been played, pretended to react to what it was. Oh, really? So he'd always be like, oh, man, I hate that. Or, oh, that's great. And sometimes it was so funny because he was like agreeing with something that was maybe terrible or whatever.
That's hilarious. We'll have to do something like that. We'll have to steal that idea.
Yeah. Another classic they do is like interviews with people from the world. So, and they just improv it. They're very impressive. So like one guy will like pretend to interview a character who lives in the world, and it's always good. Always a good time.
When I used to play all the clips, because I insert, there's a lot of times where I just insert them in after we've done the recording, but there's beforehand when I used to play them. There were times where I used to play clips from RuneFest, and it'd be like a 10-minute clip, and I'd be like, this might have been with Deegan, maybe it was with Magpies. We haven't done a RuneFest one yet. We get the Summer Summit now. We get shafted, but eventually we'll get the RuneFest. But when I pull like a 10-minute clip of one of their announcements, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna be right back. This clip's 10 minutes, but I'll be back up before it's finished. And then it's like I would have to like play it, and it would go into the episode, but I would have to wait 10 minutes for it, depending on how long it was. And then I realized I should just insert this in afterwards, so we don't have to wait 10 minits for this to finish.
He's
playing.
He's evolving.
We're becoming very learned.
Learned to. Yeah.
Learned it.
I thought you were being funny there. Were you actually trying to pronounce it?
I don't know.
I don't know. That's the best answer, because it could be either one. I don't know.
I've been watching Kenny versus Spenny, and they'll say he's a very learned man, and they'll say that pretty often. And it's kind of, I thought it was kind of funny. So I wanted to slip that one in.
There you go. It didn't get past me.
They never do. Okay, so the first blooper, it's labeled here as the staking arena.
Yeah, so the tax, they go into detail. And so what happens is if you're staking 10 mil or below, you're taxed 0.25%. If you're stacking 10 mil to 100 mil, you're stacked 0.5%. And if you're am I saying stacking? Let me say that again. Jesus Christ, I think I did. I think I'm too out of it.
I didn't even notice. So
yeah, good thing. I think I said it. Anyways, yeah. So they made some taxes to the stake arena.
I always thought that one was so silly. So that was during the dual arena taxes. I guess we're coming out.
It's pretty good. Yeah, it's nice to hear your brother's voice. It's been a long time.
It has, yeah. And he logged in on RuneScape for leagues for like a week, and then I think he's playing, what is it, Lost Ark came by. Cool. He's a serial video game hopper. He's playing, I don't know how he can juggle so many MMOs, but one week it's WoW, one week it's Final Fantasy, next it's RuneScape, next it's
you're an account hopper, and he's a game hopper.
True, that's true.
Runs in the family.
Yeah. Yeah. The next one is from episode 102. And I was trying to say Jagex asks, and for some reason I couldn't say it. and it really screwed me up, and it took me like 10 tries, and I eventually just didn't even say it. So we'll play that one real quick.
Last week, Jagex asks. Oh, Jesus. Last week, Jagex asks the Fine, it's kind of, I don't know. This feels like a tongue twister. Last week, the OSRS team.
Oh, that one's good.
And they're all me. They're all like, a lot of these are going to be, the next ones are all me, and they're like, the next two are like, I'm going to say the best for last, because I don't know where, anyway, we'll get to that. The next one was from episode 198. I think I even left it in the episode, but when I was listening to it, I was like, it felt like such an incoherent thought. It just like, I was getting dumber by the second. So let's play. It's from 198, talking about coding, I think. I guess the memory, whatever memory is running, the Jagex brain thing runs RuneScape.
Classic.
Okay, and then good. The final one. This is my favorite one. I don't know where it came from. One day I was like cleaning out my computer and I found this audio file called LOL, all capitals, and I have no idea what episode it was pulled from, because it's just called LOL. I don't know how long. I don't know when I had pulled it off. I guess I could have looked at the metadata. I don't know if I can still do it, because this is a copy of it. But this is it. I don't know what is going on there. And if anyone can, if anyone is like, oh, I remember what episode this might be from, please let me know, because this has been tripping me up for a while.
So I started notice. I just on Google. I noticed you could actually some real world. I noticed when real world trading existed.
I don't know what that's from, man. I don't know what's going on there.
It sounds a little like a slightly older clip.
Yeah, I can picture where I recorded that one from, because there was a nice little echo from. It was from one of my first microphones I bought, the old Blue Yeti.
So I started notice. I saw on Google. I noticed you could actually some real world. I noticed when real world trading existed.
I think it comes from a story. This story is insane. I'll tell. It's been a while since I've told this one. But when I was a kid, I lived with my mom. My parents were divorced, and my mom didn't have a computer or internet. So I never got to play RuneScape at home. I had to wait till I was at my dad's or my grandparents. So often I was going to my grandparents, because they live really close to my dad as well. So every other weekend I was either going to my grandparents or my dad's house. And then during the summer, I stayed at my grandparents quite a bit. They had a nice little pool and all this other stuff. And they did what grandparents do, which was spoil the grandkids. So I ended up staying there a bunch, and I played a lot of RuneScape during those summers. And I don't know how I found it, but there was this phase that went where maybe it was off eBay. You couldn't buy, like, you could never buy gold off people, right? Real world trading is a problem that we have all the time. It's probably worse now than ever. Actually, maybe 2007 was worse. But point is, real world trading had always been a problem. But what they used to do to get by it, which is probably some sneaky 13-year-old loophole, which doesn't make any sense. But it would be like, I'm selling a joke on eBay, and if you buy this joke, it comes with a bunch of RuneScape gold. I'm not selling RuneScape gold. I'm just going to give you it. You're buying a joke. But that's what they would say. They'd say, I'm selling a joke. Oh, by the way, I'll toss in some RuneScape gold that I need to get rid of anyways. And it was like, I guess it tried to be this like pseudo loophole to like real world trade. I thought it was crazy. And my grandparents, as most grandparents are like super like out of touch when it comes to like video games in general and like the internet and all that jazz. And I was trying to explain to them how this video game I play is like it's so crazy that people will spend real life money on currency in the game. It was like a very foreign thing back then. We're talking like 2004 era. I was trying to explain it, and they were like, "Oh, wow, that's really cool." And I was like, "I can show you, like how you could buy it, and you can see how much money it costs." And they were like, "Okay, yeah, show me. We're pretty interested to see how this game is so popular. You can trade items in the game for real life money. People value these pixels with in-game or with real life dollar value." So I looked up like whatever website I'd been looking at, but either I clicked the wrong thing or the URL had changed, like it redirected somewhere. And I clicked on this gold selling site and it redirected to like hardcore porno. I was like, so I have my grandparents here and I click it. And next thing you know, it's like the raunchiest porn you might have ever seen. And I was like, oh my God, that's not it. Let's go back. And then they were like, what the hell? Is this what you brought to show us? What you're not playing that game anymore. But they were like so appalled by what they had just seen. They were calling their internet provider at the time, and they were trying to like, you need to get this website removed from the internet. And they were like calling them to like, and I had to like keep it up. Maybe not the visuals, but they needed the information because they were sending this to the internet provider to allow them to remove the website from the internet. That's not how it worked. They thought that's how it worked, but that's not how that worked. So I think that's where the origins of the clip, where this is how I learned real world trading existed. And it was by showing my grandparents some really raunchy pornography by accident.
Oh, your poor grandparents.
Yeah, that was interesting. So yeah, RuneScape is riddled with scams and lured. I got lured to a porn site, which is rough. Somehow they knew.
It's pretty funny.
So the next clip I wanted to play, which comes back to episode 61, a fan favorite segment. It's not a consistent segment. It kind of pops up every now and then. And that's this. I guess we kind of call it the conspiracy. We call it conspiracy segment. We play a little bit of spooky music, and we talk about some some insane conspiracy that's going on underneath the surface of either RuneScape or something adjacent to RuneScape, something that's somehow related to this video game. And there has been a ton over the years. Some actually turned out to be more fucked than others, let's just say.
There was a bit of truth. Usually we just go out over the top, but yeah, some of them had some truth.
Sometimes it's like a little bit of truth, and then every now and then we're like, wow, our conspiracy. It's like, sometimes our conspiracies are like equivalent to like, we've never been on the moon, right? Other conspiracies are equivalent to, I'm trying to think of a conspiracy that is actually true. The conspiracy that light bulb makers have been making less effective light bulbs since like the 30s. I watched a video on this recently and it's pretty crazy, but they used to make light bulbs that would never burn out. And then they realized this was not an effective business model. So now they make light bulbs that aren't as good as the original ones they made because they burn out. Now you have to keep buying more, and it keeps the industry going.
Interesting.
So sometimes conspiracy we talk about end up unraveling to something like that. So I wanted to go back and see what was the first conspiracy, because I always remember that the first conspiracy that we kind of chatted about, I never even play the conspiracy music. It was the X-Files music. So it was easy to find. So I went back to find the X-Files episode, and I was like listening to it, and it was really funny what the first conspiracy is. So I'll play a little bit of it. I don't know if I'm going to play the whole thing because it might be a little bit long, and I don't want to make us sit here for 20 minutes as we listen to it like I used to do for RuneFest segments. But yeah, so we'll get into it. So this is from episode 61 called the RS Files. This is the episode where Mage Arena 2 was released, which, by the way, there's some stuff to talk about in regards to that as well, because I forgot how shitty of an update that was until I went back to listen to this episode. But we'll talk about that after. Yeah, and this is the conspiracy that it's not quite linked to Mage Arena. It might be. Not quite. It is because it has to do with PvP. Here we go.
All right, so we got some juicy conspiracies going on. Okay, Deegan, you wanna start the convo?
Want to take her off? Okay.
Let's hear.
So there is a clan called Frontline. It's kind of hard to. Like, there's a lot of backstory to this, but there's a bunch of clans and there's a lot of scummy stuff that goes on in between them, like doxing and DDoSing and all this stuff. But alleged,
yeah.
The most popular clan, and we've talked about them before, and they're like the allegations towards them, Rot, with their DDoSing and all this jazz. Yeah. Okay. So I don't really know how to start this off. It's kind of weird, but so there's a mod Jed, who coincidentally did this last PvP update with the Mage Arena and the Rev Caves and stuff.
Oh shit.
But so Frontlines had like a multiple part like YouTube videos on like all this stuff about Rot. And last week they had like part 3 and we kind of teased about it, but or was it, yeah, I think it was part 3.
It was actually part 2 because because part 3 when I watched it made me go, that is weird. So quickly before we kind of start diving into kind of what they talked about, a lot of it isn't like 100% hard solid evidence. A lot of it is, as sketchy as it might seem, it could be faked.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so part 2, a lot of it you could easily have faked it. A lot of the evidence, it was like a lot of screenshots about people like bitching about Frontlines, and then they're like trying to make friends with them and team up with them, and then they're trying to like, it was all this weird clan stuff. But the main thing was that there was like forum posts on like the Rot website of like people saying that Mod Jed gave them a little heads up of what's to come for the Rev Caves 5 days before it was released. So it was the Tuesday of the upcoming Thursday.
As well as one of the Deadman mode tournaments that took place in the Alcarad Palace.
Yeah.
He brought up that he found that somebody made a forum post saying, you know, they got some insider information about the final area of Deadman mode being there, which doesn't seem like a big deal because they did tell everyone at the start of the tournament. But this, if you knew beforehand, you could kind of set your team up with glories that were all charged, so you could instantly teleport there.
Yeah.
Whereas otherwise, you might not have had a glory. Maybe you dropped your glory because you had a fury instead.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck, I should have kept that.
And with that picture, people were saying it is probably the reason why. So it was someone screenshotted saying, look, there's no doors in the Alcarad Palace where you do like the Prince Ali Baba rescue, whatever it's called.
Or you train on the guards at a low level.
Yeah, they're saying there's no doors here. This is the final area. But then if you look at the actual picture, it was like he had no run energy. He was missing like 10 coins from his stack. There was a bunch of other stuff that made it really clear that he just tellied to Lumbridge and ran there and then took the screenshot.
Okay.
So that's why they were saying like, okay, that's kind of more evidence that he was tipped off. But yeah, so like a lot of things like in like the first major part, I guess, of like this whole fiasco, they were just screenshots and underlining stuff within the forum post, but you can also like edit source and like change the text.
Yeah, that's why, again, a lot of this evidence, as sketchy as, like, what we just mentioned sounds really fucking sketchy. Like, oh, of course, then they're, like, colluding together. But then it's also just as possible to edit those pictures or edit the source code on the site.
Yep.
So you could write whatever the fuck you wanted to on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, again, none of this, it's not solid proof. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, so the first one was about getting the first forum, like, more important forum post was about them getting tipped off, like, through Jed about Rev Ks. Another one was apparently Jed tipping them off, saying that they're gonna fix the Dragon Spear stack thing. And I think we mentioned it, like, when they first fixed it, and it was, you could stack the stuns with the Dragon Spear, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they changed it to, you couldn't do that anymore, but then, like, within the post, they say Jed's really trying to fight to keep it, like, a 3 Dragon Spear stack, at least, but, you know.
Yeah. Which ended up being just a 1 stack.
Yeah. And then...
which is how it was now, but it is now.
Yeah, and then there was forum posts about Rot looking for people to dox and DDoS people in Frontlines and in another clan. Sort of the J. I don't even know how to pronounce the name, but I can't remember what it's called. It's like Jakiram or something like that.
Yeah, some other clan.
Yeah, Jakara? I don't know. I have no idea how to pronounce that name. And, so that was kind of sketchy. We didn't really talk about it too much last episode because, like, it's hard to just talk about that.
you don't want to add fuel to the fire if it just turns out that like either one, it was all bullshit, or two, you know, this like we're talking about it right now. What if this is all just to get attention to the clans? And next thing you know, you have all these people like, oh, I want to join these two clans. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then during like the next week, another, I guess it's part 3 or whatever, is
Well, let me talk about part 1 real quickly, since we kind of just quickly brushed over that.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was just, I hope I'm not mixing this up with another one, but I'm pretty sure there was a video that came up of a person logged into a world that Rot was at in the Mage Bank, and they were all just kind of standing outside. Anyways, and I believe the guy was from another clan, and the guy appeared above, I think, like underneath the leader, but he basically quickly equipped his D-claws and specced one of the guys out, and was able to get like a spectral shield, another set of D-claws, a bunch of stuff, and he eventually got piled.
Yep.
And then in the recording, it shows him disconnect.
Yeah. And he shows how he was DDoS through packet, like it shows the packet overflow.
Mm-hmm.
The I can't think of the word right now, but like the incoming traffic, I guess is the best way to put it. I don't know, I guess I'm a bit too loopy right now, but yeah, it showed that he was like clearly being DDoSed. It wasn't like his internet died.
Yeah, so that happened, then he ended up getting killed, and he had a set of D-claws. So, you know what I mean? He lost basically all the loot and shit like that, but
yeah, he PKs like 300 mil, then instantly gets DDoSed and dies.
Yeah, and you gotta keep in mind that I think he killed like one of the leaders of that clan.
Yeah.
So that was the first one. So then the second one's just basically talking about the forum posts, stuff like that. And then they came out with a third video, which really kind of, at least for me, made me raise my eyebrows, being like, I
this is
don't know what to think about some of this.
This was the Giazzo hack, right?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, just make sure we're on the same page. All right, so so part 3 they show like a lot of like more convincing evidence. So they end up getting his email, they end up getting his email and they hack his Giazzo account. And within the video, they show them log into it and then go through a bunch of his Giazzos. And
what is Giazzo? Do you know?
I use it all the time.
Site?
It's disgustingly awesome. It's a program you download, and there's like keybind. You can hit like Control-Shift-C or something. There's like certain keybinds to open it up, and you can like select part of your screen and take a screenshot. Like you'll see a friend, he'll mention, "Oh, this is for my thumbnail," and you see his cursor turned to like that plus symbol, and you'll like highlight a box. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like you can do that, right? You hit a couple buttons, and then you can just screenshot, or you can just GIF something. It's super convenient. It like if you have a Giazzo account, it automatically gets like uploaded and saved. I checked mine before we started recording, and I have like Giazzos from like 2014 that I don't even remember taking.
Okay.
You know,
so yeah, it's like the old days of PhotoBucket, right?
Yeah, kind of, but it's way more convenient. It's instantaneous, and like you Giazzo something, it automatically opens up like a tab or like a web browser thing, and you can just paste the image or send it to someone like instantaneous. So it's very convenient. Okay. But so yeah, it shows him hacking his account, and it's I took some notes on some of the things that they go through on his Giazzo. So the first thing Giazzo they show is a GIF of him logged on to Ethereum Girl, this account name, and and he's standing around while like bunch of people got DDoSed in the wilderness.
And I think it's the DDoS during that first video that I was talking about.
Yeah, and so his leader dies, and he has his like client open, his TeamSpeak client, like making sure like if he gets DDoS, he has it on video.
Yeah.
And that kind of shows that like they know DDoS. He's aware that DDoSing is happening, which is like, he's like, you know what I mean? They don't really talk about, I mean, they did talk about it recently with the whole integrity stuff, but I mean like a JMod is around groups of people that are clearly DDoSing each other.
Okay, that was longer than I thought it was.
It's funny because it's just like all of this stuff just turned out to be true and more. Like it got so much worse.
It was crazy. And like I went back to listen to it. I was like, of course, this is the first like quote unquote conspiracy segment. Yeah, that clip will play a little bit longer, but I want to get to the point where like people hacked into his like photo bucket. It's Gyazo, but for the old timers out there, the old photo bucket. And they found like, okay, regardless of if what he did, his involvement, the point is he was around people who were DDoSing other people, which is pretty crazy. But there used to be
basically feeding information from the inside.
Yeah, and it was like, it was a crazy turn of events. So he was like part of a clan that was known to do a lot of really sketchy shit, like DDoSing and doxing people.
Yeah, RWT, lots of real world trading happening in Raw.
Yeah,
still to this day.
There was like evidence of like, you know, the clan. I think it's Rot we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
They would be like beefing with another clan, and they would find the clan leader, and then they would find like his sister on like Facebook and dox all of her information. She doesn't even play RuneScape,
or like harass them. Yeah, they're just toxic people in general.
Yeah, some crazy
they're
stuff.
Really shitty.
Yeah, and used
like
to hear
genuinely
more
criminal behavior coming out of this clan. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, dude, like, haven't even like, it's crazy because of how juicy this story gets when you start talking about like the Rev caves and all the real world trading that was happening with that, and then how Venezuela was involved.
It gets like
it goes
deep.
So deep. It goes very, very deep.
Like, he really gets brought to light with this clan drama because he's affiliated with these clans, and like they're doing a bunch of sketchy stuff, but also like a JMod being in a clan, that seems like a conflict of interest. That seems quite strange, you know?
It's funny because there are still JMods that are in clans right now. And because you see the same shit happening, but to like a lesser degree. Like when Next was released, a clan called Oblivion was obviously given insider information from someone called Mod Arcane. And it happened even like he's like a huge game. He's like one of the main game developing JMods. And he has leaked insider information for like Chambers of Xeric and like basically all the big content. He tends to leak like a little information on Discord to some of his clanmates, and then they end up getting a head start on the economy or whatever. And since a lot of them real world trade anyways, like they end up, you know, making money off it. So it's dicey.
Are you predicting the next JMod scandal? Is that what we're hearing?
I mean,
here
Arcane's already done a bunch of sketchy shit. Like whether he intended to or not, he's tipped off his friends and they've made money from it. Likely a bunch of them real world trade. It's like, I already know for a fact that lots of high level Oblivion members sell capes. And if you want to buy an Inferno cape, basically, I don't like sharing this information with people, Dills, because then they might get ideas. Basically, it's going to cost you 400 mil if you want an Inferno cape.
You're like, I don't like to share this information, but let's talk it on the podcast.
Whatever. I'm just going to go into it. It's basically going to cost you 400 mil for an Inferno cape if you have a Twisted Bow and max stats. All right. And it's probably going to scale up to like just over $1 billion if you have like a rune crossbow.
Wow.
All right. So typically people that want Inferno capes have Twisted Bows. And they've tried it themselves and just don't have the mental or just don't have the time to do it. Or they're PvPers and they can't be asked to go and learn it. And they just want the upgrade.
Fair.
So they buy it. My guess is 15 to 20% of capes in the game are purchased. Maybe slightly higher. But yeah, maybe about 20%. It's like 1 in 5. That'd be my rough guess. And that's what I think a few content creators that do a lot of Inferno think similar ideas too. But yeah, imagine you sell that gold. Every cape, you're probably making like 250 USD. Takes you an hour and a half to do a cape.
A
lot of money can be made.
RuneScape is big business. It sounds silly, but I'm
sorry, I'm not going to release any more info.
I saw an ad on Facebook for this. Like, I thought it was a private server. I get like. This is like my direct targeting ads. I get like private server ads sometimes, and I just ignore them because they all look friggin' stupid, and I don't want to play private server. But I saw one the other day, and it was like this service where they would train accounts for you. They would train they wouldn't just like, I'm sure they could train your account, but their main gimmick was like, you want to be a PKer, it's your account. and we'll train your PKer to like be the most optimal PKer. So they like, I've been working on this one defense pure since like 2017, I think it was when I made it. And there's a lot of milestones I'm trying to hit, but basically they would say, listen, it's taking you years to do it. You just give us this level 3 and you pay us and we'll get it to whatever it was. And I was like, oh, that sounds like a scam. But when I was looking into it, it like looked legit. And then I was looking into like how much a pure would cost, and it's like $2,500 or something. It's a lot of money. And I was like, there are people, that's a lot to spend. You know, people talk about like microtransactions and this or that, like $2,000 to like train a pure account. There are people paying that.
Yeah, but crazy. Think about it. If you real world trade the money yourself and then want to like, I don't know, high risk on a pure, then it's like, you know, you could be making a lot of money from that.
Mm-hmm.
Because high risk PKers are I would say the number one real world traders in the game. Well, they're up there. The other people are PVM discords that sell capes, and then PvP, like multi and singles PvP clans also do a lot of real world trading. Like to make money and like actively live off the game. So there's quite a large group of people that do it. Yeah,
there's big money involved.
Sketchy. I'm just saying that there's also like we talked about Mod Jed being involved, but like to some extent there are still JMods that are involved with these clans that definitely do this stuff, and they know about it too, and they're not going to do anything about it because they're their friends.
Yeah, and I think. I mean, nobody did anything about the Mod Jed thing. What happened? So this, like, it goes deep. So he's involved with these clans. These clans are winning Dead Man Mode tournaments, which, by the way, now there's $25,000 being handed out to these clans that this JMod is affiliated with. And this JMod also directly works on PvP content, which is what these clans are doing. So they're getting these like insider information. Forum posts would show up of like, hey, by the way, I found out X, Y, or Z information, which... a dev blog or two later, boom, that information is true. Was it a lucky guess? Maybe. Was it leaked by the JMod in the clan? Very possibly. So, some of that we know now is much more likely than we originally thought, because there. So as time would go on, we would see posts on Facebook, on Reddit about people who have single digit names or just 2-digit names, like maybe G or Y, and suddenly they would find that their account had been hacked and their name was stolen. Somebody had had name changed it and grabbed it. So somebody had taken it. And they would make posts saying it got hacked. And of course, whenever you see a post of someone hacked me and they did this, people are usually like, okay, we know you tried to sell your name and you screwed up, or you want your name back and you got whatever it is. You fucked up. It's your fault. You tried to do something sketchy. Now and you screwed up. So that's usually what happens. Or I got hit, same thing when someone's like, I got banned wrongfully for botting or real world trading. JMod comes in and says, no, here's all the evidence we have, and it seems pretty sketch. And then people would log in saying, hey, I just logged into my account. I'm missing $5 billion. I'm missing $10 billion worth of gold from my account, and it's just gone. And again, people were like, yeah, you probably real world traded that, so your fault. Now, fast forward to 2018. I remember I was sitting in class. I was at school for a radio broadcast, like an audio production course in school. I was sitting in a class that was about, what was it? It was like a vocal lessons class. I forget what it was actually called, but I was sitting there and I remember exactly looking, and I'm browsing the dev blogs or maybe Reddit, and then I see a dev blog come out saying we have terminated one of our employees. And
you just know who it is.
They never said who it was, but that person,
you immediately know though.
Only one person. Yeah, because his Twitter account gets deleted. All this stuff, he gets removed from the team list basically onto the Jagex website, and they're like, we're not going to go into detail, but we will say that police are involved. And you're like, wow, that's, oh my God, Mod Jed, all of that. He just got not just fired, he's been arrested, and who knows what happened after that. And then the people who are complaining about their names being stolen, or people complaining about gold being hacked, they would log in and it would say 10 bill has been deposited into your bank. A bunch of money would be returned. And then you're like, wait a minute.
All those posts. Yeah. And
like Mod Jed was hacking people's accounts and stealing gold or doing it like what the like when nobody thought he was
the back end. Dude, Matt K's story about it is so good. You have to listen to it if no one's ever heard it. We should really just like plug it on the pod if we could.
Where can they hear it?
It's on like YouTube. He's done it a few times, but just Google like Mod Matt K on Mod Jed, and the story is really insane. They were like hacking basically 100. He was going through the back end. I'm not sure how Matt K explains it, but something to do with like emails and stuff. But he was hacking accounts, yoinking like 100 bill a month, which is like, I don't know, 60K USD at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And then probably spreading it throughout his clan, of course. And he's doing that for months. And Matt K like knew something was up with this dude. Like they could all just tell he was like very, very sketchy, but they didn't have the evidence to kick him yet, like to get him out. Man, the story is just insane. This whole Jed situation, like the criminal drama to a whole other level. I don't think we'll ever see drama like this in the RuneScape community again.
Not to that level, but I think, you know, maybe what you were kind of alluding to earlier, that it could happen again because, well, Mod Jed, I think, was the biggest one. It was not the only one. And this is before my time with the podcast. This was really early on, but do you know the story like behind Mod Reach?
Yeah, that one's good too.
It was another one that like not to the level of Mod Jed, and the full story never came out as well as the Mod Jed story, but there was this glitch, this bug with Corp, and it like allowed people to not take any damage from Corp, I believe, or they were able to like do an instance. It was like this really weird bug where people were able to like log in on multiple accounts and just solo Corp and AFK, and they'd have like 30 accounts running, and they would real world trade it. And people believe that Mod Reach found out about this glitch, this bug, and either he was doing it himself or he was telling other people, and he was getting a kickback from the real world trading. Because, and what really tipped people off is that one day he posted he had like an Audi R8, which is like
an expensive car.
Yeah, how much would that go for? That's like almost $200,000 in Canada.
Yeah,
that's a really expensive car, and for a JMod, that's like not the most realistic car to get. And people were like, "How the hell is he making all this money?" And then, lo and behold, some odd time goes by, and he's fired, and that
Ellie's
bug gets
baby
fixed.
Ellie's were behind it.
Exactly. So it's happened before, and like,
dude, and honestly, I'm like almost certain it's happening currently to some degree. Maybe not as extreme as this, but at a minimum, a blind eye is being turned by certain JMods to people in their clan or people they know that are making huge money from real world trading. 100%.
And they could use the JMod as a shield, right? That
or this would be conspiracy. We always cue the music. We should cue the music for this whole section. Or
let's do it
specific
now.
JMods are just getting kickback from these people that they're turning a blind eye to. You can go in these discords that they're part of, like some of the big clan discords, and some of the top people it'll literally say in their profile DM for Cape. Like it's a meme in the community. And you can straight up DM these people to do an Inferno Cape for you.
Wow.
Like on the We Do Raids, but Magpies would have known a lot of them because he was We Do Raid staff
right
at the time. So he would know a lot of these people. Probably never talked about it on the pod because it is like the dark side of RuneScape.
It's crazy. And I remember like a lot of this kind of came out.
I think it's worth talking about because a lot of people just like basically turn a blind eye to it and pretend it doesn't really exist. And I think that's kind of what the JMods do to a certain extent.
They used to care. Mm-hmm.
But they'll crack down on other types of real world trading that look bad for the game. Like they'll crack down on, clans, farming the Rev Caves or Venezuelan gold farmers, things like that. But then they don't crack down so much on like individual players that are getting away with a lot of money.
Interesting.
I don't know much about high risk staking. It's not really like a world I've been involved in. But I'm sure it happens there like all the time.
I do definitely think you're onto something, and I know that when Nex was coming out, at the very least, with like Mod Arcane, and I think Mod Arcane's like in terms of his work to the game, he knows a lot about the game.
Yeah, but you could intentions or not, Jed did some great fucking updates.
It's true.
Don't get me wrong. True. He did Dragon Slayer 2, Mage Arena 2, the Rev Caves. For what it was, I thought the Rev Caves was a great concept. Those were great updates from Jed. Like, his actual work on the game was fantastic, but him as a person, not so fantastic.
Yeah, pretty sketch. He had ulterior motives, and I think and I'm sure other JMods might do this as well, but I know Mod Arcane definitely, like, he did provide some insider information. No matter how important it was, he did share it into somewhat private Discords. He didn't share it in like the RuneScape Discord. He shared it in some clan Discord or some non-JMod ran Discord. He would share some sort of information, and then somebody would take that, post it on the subreddit, and people were talking about it, and then they go, wait a minute, how the hell are we learning this from some Discord that like isn't even a part of,
but it could be as simple as like, I don't know, he's in a group chat with like 3 or 4 of his clan buddies, and they're like, yo, Arcane, what weapon is going to be good at next? And he's like, oh, crossbow. And then a week later, they tell everyone on the Q&A that crossbows are going to be useful at next, but then the damage is done, and these clan members and all their friends have stocked up on ACBs, made a huge profit on them when the news becomes public and they skyrocket, and then just RWT the money, and then it's over. And I'm sure it happens like more often than we think. But I think he's notorious for doing it, so like it's easy to blame him, but I'm sure it happens with other JMods. I think with Nex, he tried to not do it like he did for the other content that was released, but yeah, it's not great.
I guess it's a double-handed, double-edged
sword.
Double-edged sword, thank you. That when we're like, oh, the JMods are so involved with the community, but also the JMods are so involved with the community. Sometimes small, like imagine we had like a JMod in the clan chat, and they were like dropping like some crazy.
And you're really good friends with them. Like you've played with them for years before they were a JMod, and now they are a JMod. Like it's so easy to just be like in chat with them, being like, "Oh, yo, Arcane, what's up, buddy? Like, what's going to be good at the next thing?" And you just like peer pressure them into telling you. Like, I'm not saying it's necessarily his fault or like any of their fault, but I'm certain it happens.
Yeah, it gets a little shaky,
Well, I guess the conspiracy is that they're doing it on purpose and then getting a kickback from their buddies that are real world trading the money.
Yeah. I think the conspiracy comes out 10 episodes from now when some other shit happens. We're like, wait, let's wait till Raids 3.
Oh, see, but like Raids 3, there's just, with the RuneScape economy, there's always so much money to be made when a huge piece of endgame PVM content comes out, and items are going to fluctuate.
Actually,
so
yeah.
There's so much real world currency to be made if you have insider information. It's basically insider trading, if they release information, which is criminal.
Yeah.
Which is where something's going to happen, and then you tell your buddies and they take advantage of it, and then you take a split. It's straight up insider trading, but in RuneScape. So I'm certain it's going to happen with Raids 3. I can't wait for the drama.
That's what we always look forward to. That's actually crazy. Wow. We talked a few episodes back, and you're like, I'm gonna get a nice little conspiracy going, and I was like, I don't know if you're going to be able to. It's kind of dry out there, but here we are. Wow, we're set with the foundation.
Yeah, I'm just cooking one up. Yeah, honestly, Raids 3, like, there's going to be some level of drama for sure. There has to be.
Part 2. So yeah, well, let's keep an eye out for part 2. Some crazy stuff there. Now, I wanted to mention, going back to that episode 61, it's kind of funny when I was listening to it, I forgot how bad Mage Arena 2 was. And it made me realize the problem we have in RuneScape has been occurring for its entire life cycle, or old school RuneScape specifically, where they release really shit content. Was Mage Arena 2, if anyone who originally did it, they had just lesser demons that were recolored, and
nice.
They would ice barrage you, and they would teleblock you, and they would do a bunch of damage, and they would recoil. That was it. They didn't really have any crazy mechanics. They just like did a bunch of wacky attacks all at once. but they were just recolored. And then eventually people were so upset by the update because it was Mage Arena 2 and it's worse than Mage Arena 1. And they eventually went and redid the whole update, and it really reminded me of the Theater of Blood Night at the Theater quest.
That was hilarious.
They released it and it was shit, and they're like, we'll go back and fix it. So that's unfortunate. Anyways, a little trip down memory lane, some good old conspiracy. A little fun, I guess. I don't know what do you call it, behind the scenes. When I was like trying to come up with some conspiracy music, the first one I was gonna do was, and I think I asked some people in the Discord way back. The original one I was gonna do was not spooky music. It's called Dimension X. This was the song. Oh, it's an ad. So I don't know why we were gonna choose this one, or I was gonna choose it. But I was going through it, and I wanted some weird music, and this one sounded very strange, as you can hear.
Very strange. The one you have now is just perfection because it plays in the wilderness in the game, right?
I don't know. Let's look it up.
It's from the Wildy.
See, I thought it was. Let's check. And you know what? It was so good. I think we were. I think we were the trailblazers in this because I see a lot of other content creators using this song as the conspiracy music. I see a lot in that one. I forget his name. He's a YouTuber who does a lot of like bot. We're gonna break into this bot farm.
Sir Pugger.
Yeah, Sir Pugger. And then Swampoletics used it as well. So this track actually unlocks in Draenor Manor.
Oh, interesting. I always thought it was a Wildy.
It's also the Grave Digger random event, and you also get it from the 2021 Halloween event. So it's kind of all over the place. It used to be called Spooky 2. Guess there was no Spooky 1. So interesting stuff. Okay. All right. So we're going to about wrap things up. Guys, last episode, or maybe it was 2 episodes ago, we opened up a call line for people to be able to call in and leave voice messages. It was one of my favorite things in some of the other podcasts I listen to. And I'm often inspired and I steal segments, quote unquote, steal. I borrow, but I get inspired by shows that I really like. And I'm like, I love this segment. How can we do it? And I've been looking for ways to do it. I was trying to find an actual phone number people could dial in because I always liked that idea. And I realized it was either going to be very expensive or, it just wouldn't work great. I looked I worked at a radio station. I tried to figure out how do they call in to the radio show. And then I realized it's kind of expensive. They have to get these these whole, I can't remember what it's called. Big old device. And it would be like a lot of money for a big old device. And they would have it in their racks where they would have like some audio compressor and some transmitters. And it was, anywho, too expensive. That's like thousands of dollars. It's not going to quite happen. But yeah, we'll play them through. I asked if you guys could call in, leave us some messages. So the first message from Mr. Tecate himself. He is a UIM in the clan chat with a twisted bow. And he's, quite a seasoned UIM, I should say. So here is Tecate.
Hello, Dills and all my Wildy folks. This is Tecate. People commonly know me as the UIM who got mega spooned on a T-bow at 9KC. Just want to say congrats on 200. That's a huge accomplishment. One question I have is, have you ever thought of interviewing a JMod similar to the Sebe podcast? I think that could be really cool. Here's to 200 more. Thanks so much.
It's great. Love Tecate.
Yeah, it's funny because thank you for the message. But yeah, I started like this OSRS Ramble series, which is supposed to be like, it's similar in that it's like an interview just to sit down and chat. But it's hard to like do a side series along with this like podcast. So I still plan on doing them when I have some free time. But haven't quite. But yeah, they're very infrequent. I think we've done like 3 or 4 over the year or two.
I do wonder how it goes because Sebe has a lot of sway with like content creators because he himself is like a YouTube content creator and a Twitch streamer. So therefore he does know a lot of people. So it might be easier for him to like get guests. I don't know how it would be for us to get guests. I know when we were on the Trinity Force podcast, because we were quite a popular pod, we used to get Riot members on quite often.
That's cool.
Or like certain like high level community people, but we were never able to like have huge sway and get like, I don't know, Cutie Pie or like Tyler One on or anything. They weren't going to do it because they're too big time. But yeah, it's interesting for sure. I'm sure if we reached out to certain like Twitch creators, they would probably be up for it as well. Like I think doing one with like a PKer would be really interesting because neither of us are like really PKers.
I had a whole list of people I was like talking with about doing more of these OSRS rambles with. I just didn't have the time and I didn't want to overload myself in the point where I like get burnt out and then suddenly I'm like, you know what, like we take another 10-month break or something. So I've learned a lot from when 2020 when I did that huge break because I just got overwhelmed with like I guess podcasting because my day job is in podcasting too. And it caused me to just like step away and drop and not even look at the RuneScape podcast for a bit. So I've learned that like when things are getting pretty hectic, just to take a temporary break. That's why we were gone for like 2-3 weeks because things were just super busy and I didn't want to force myself to try to pump out episodes because then it becomes that's how like people quit RuneScape too. They force themselves to play. Weeks go by, you end up quitting for like a year or something. So I'm pretty confident that we could get like JMods on the show because a lot of them are very easy to get in touch with and there's a lot of JMods and they'd be very willing just to kind of chat. One thing that I've learned both in my day job and just doing this podcast is that people are much more easier to get in touch with than you would think. And this goes for like anyone who like wants to do a podcast or a RuneScape podcast. It is easier to find guests than you would think. You might not be able to get like the top content creators, but you don't have to.
Especially on Twitter, you can just reach out to people. That's what I used to do for like league stuff. But obviously I was more of a host then. And like that's your job. So I just leave it up to you. But yeah, I'd be happy to help you find some people too if we want to reach out. I should really get a Twitter going for my account or something.
Hop on the old Twitter. I barely.
I do have Twitter, a Twitter from my old league account, but it's not very big. So I should switch it over.
It's something that I would love to do more consistently, like because I like sitting down and it's like it's just a different style. It's instead of talking about like weekly updates, even though doing the weekly updates is my favorite part of the podcast, but I would love to have guest side series more often, and we'll probably eventually get there. Maybe not super consistently, but it'll get there when time's freed up. Or maybe Heartless, maybe you'll jump in and start doing some of them.
You're just gonna force me to become a Twitch streamer so that I can gain influence and then get guests onto the podcast.
Oh yeah.
We'll see.
So exciting.
But yeah, dude, Seipei's cast is so good. That guy is real knowledgeable about the game, and I really like his takes in general.
I have to give him a listen because I know for a while there was like I always had a hard time finding OSRS podcasts, and it seems just like in the past year or two we have some good ones that have come out, and they're consistent.
He's got a backlog of episodes. They're all on YouTube only, I think, and they tend to be like 3 hours long where he just kind of rambles on with a guest. But he has lots of fairly famous or recognizable people in the community or JMods that come on and talk. So yeah, they're definitely worth a listen. They're good to like play RuneScape and listen to those.
Now, if you could have discussion, if you could do a JMod interview, who would you be your top pick?
Arcane, 100%.
Yeah, 100%. Would you try to do like a gotcha interview?
100%. No, I'm just kidding. I actually don't know. Maybe Aiza or Light, like one of the community managers, would be interesting.
Okay.
And I think they would also be the most receptive to coming on because it's technically part of their job, so they could, be on working hours while we do it.
Nice, get paid for it.
So I think Light is the current one. I know she does a lot of stuff on Twitter, so she'd be a good one to reach out to. And obviously, Aiza is a bit of a legend in the community.
Yeah.
As much as I love Ash, I know he's busy. So keeping the game together but
he's not too busy to respond to everyone who tweets him.
That guy is a fucking monster. Honestly, to have an employee like Ash in your company is just incredible. The man goes above and beyond, and he honestly is an absolute treasure. We're lucky to have him.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a lot of great J mods, but I probably choose one of those two, either Light or Aiza. One of them's new, one of them's like older, and they've been around for longer.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, obviously Arcane is pretty chill too, but I just wouldn't want to have to grill him too much.
We expose him. Okay, so we have all these tweets here. Can you react to them?
Jesus,
I think I would choose
just not comment. Yeah, who would you choose?
I think I would choose Mod Kieran if I could pick any of them. I feel like
great too.
I feel like he is. We've seen him kind of go from like a more junior employee to a senior in leadership position, which is awesome. And he's always stricken me as someone who knows the direction this game should go. And he's always like he always felt like he has a good hand. He has his fingers on the pulse when it comes to like pumping out good content and like what's healthy and not healthy for the game. So I think he would be really fun to talk to in terms of just like getting their thoughts and even just like asking, I would love to even have maybe Mod Ed, someone who is, I don't always know exactly what they do, but I know Mod Ed has a heavy hand in terms of lore and quest writing. I would love to know, be like, what happened with A Night at the Theater? Like, can you tell us what really happened?
Or even just like what motivates them for like storytelling. That would be really cool. Because I know you're big into lore, so you do all of that. Even someone like Mod Matt K would be, he's a classic. You can't go wrong with him.
He's unfiltered now, so that's great.
He is really good. So yeah, there's lots of great choices really, and honestly, it's something we should look into because I think it'd be interesting.
Definitely. All right, let's move on to the next one. This one is from Mr. Cosmonaut himself. I had played D&D with him in the past, and which was a great time. Actually, I had played D&D with some friends from college. I never really had that much fun. I really wanted to enjoy it. And then a few people in the Discord wanted to play D&D, and we ended up getting a one shot together. And it was me, Cos, it was Big Nukes, and Misty Skills. And we played a one shot. Misty Skills was the DM, and it was one of the most fun. Like, even if I could even add in not just D&D, but board games and Magic the Gathering all together, it was one of the most fun nights I've ever had. And we did this one shot, which was very like nautical themed. And I just had and it reignited my excitement to get back into D&D. So a quick little story there. But yeah, that was a really good session. So anyways, let's play the message here.
Hey Dills and Heartless, it's Cosmonaut. Anyone in the clan will probably know my voice. Been listening to the podcast since 2018 and loved every episode since. Keep on doing what you guys do and hit me up for some raids soon.
Thank you very much for that message, Mr. Cosmonaut, a prolific raider.
Prolific indeed. There's a classic meme in our clan. I probably spent like 1,000 hours in voice chat with him, so raiding throughout the years. Yeah, he does like 2,000 raids and doesn't have the omelet. Sad times.
Yeah, and then
we actually have a meme. I got it on leagues. Yeah,
on his really iron. Yeah, I'd sit in on some of the learner raids, and it was really good. Like I felt like he was reading a script, and I was like, wow, that is a hell of a way to teach a raid.
Yeah, he's just done so many of them now throughout the years. So yeah, he's a great person to learn from.
Next up, we have Mr. Beefy Click, a booster of the server. And yeah, I recently actually posted my first thought. He had posted in the Discord about a tattoo he wanted to get. And I believe he got a tattoo inside his ear. He posted a picture of it. I never even knew that was a thing. You get a tattoo behind the ear, never inside the ear itself. So that is, does that hurt? That feels like it would
seems ripe for infection. Jeez.
Yeah, wouldn't it? But yeah, craziness. So here's his message.
Hey guys, Cody here, aka Beefy Click. I just wanted to say congratulations for the 200th episode, and I hope this year coming brings you guys a lot of good things, and most importantly, some RuneScape gains.
Thank you very much there, Beefy Click. It'd be interesting to see what 2022 brings. I'm excited for this year. I know we're not getting into the news this episode. Next episode, we'll talk about it. This is going to be a great year. I really feel like it's going to be awesome. All right. Next up, we have That's Johnny T. He's been hanging out in the... I have lost track, like, how long things have been kind of going. What I'm trying to say is That's Johnny T has been in the clan for like such a long time that I can't even pinpoint a year. It's like there's a bunch of people that like I'm like, you've been in a long time. I have like no memory of like, I remember the podcast, the clan chat had no people in it, and then it had some people in it, and then it had people that stayed in it. And it's like, that's pretty crazy. It's been an evolution, an EOC evolution of clan chats.
Hey, Wilderness Podcast. This is That's Johnny T. Dude, huge fan, by the way. I followed you back when you were doing it with your brother, Deegan. Dude, I listened to so many of those, and it was just great. I clean pools for a living, so like just being able to like feel like a part of something, like not even a part of something, but just being able to get info on something that you love so much through like a great medium that you have provided, Dills. I think it's fucking great, man. I don't know if we're allowed to cuss or not, but what you got going on, the community, the podcast, just the hang. I left the clan because I just felt like I didn't belong, but I came back and I realized that the community is just so great. Like no negativity whatsoever, and if it does happen, it gets fished out pretty quick. But I don't know. This is actually, I'm rambling now, but I just want to say thanks for all the entertainment. Thanks for all the information. Dills, it feels like I know you, man. I remember we did like a voice chat back in the day while I was working, while you were streaming on Twitch, and it was just fun. And you're a genuine guy, and I appreciate you, man. So thanks a lot. And here's to many more years. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you very much. That's Johnny T. I remember when you left the clan chat, and then you came back, and I was like, "We're back, boys." We're very back. Happy to see you had come back, and you made an Iron Man. So
I can see that. His arms looking good.
You did it again.
I did it again. No, that was a really nice message. I get what he's saying, like feeling a part of the community and like you know the people, even though they don't know you. It's very strange.
He mentioned how he had left, maybe not feeling quite super involved. I remember I played when I played World of Warcraft, I was a part of this guild named Phoenix Rising. Shout out to my boys at Phoenix Rising, Suramar server, the Burning Crusade. It was a very small guild. And I was chilling with them and we were raiding a bunch, and I felt like I was really close with all of them. But then I just felt like maybe similar. I was like, you know what? I feel like I need to leave this guild, even though I've been with them for such a long time. I know everyone. And I was just like, I don't know. Something about me was like, I need to leave this guild, and I think I need to join another one, and maybe even a better guild. And I left with a buddy. We went and we joined another guild on our server that was better. And then I joined it, and it felt so like I didn't know anyone. And I was like, this was supposed to be, a better community. It felt like it was bigger, and it was like they were raiding more and whatever it was. And I just like, and it just doing that, I never went back to the Rising Phoenix clan or guild, but I ended up quitting WoW because of it, because I was like, I lost all these connections, and I was like, I don't know. I felt like I had to leave, almost like spread my wings and go and find myself a bigger guild. But then doing that, I felt like the other guild just never really welcomed me. Now I'm rambling.
That's a tough one. I mean, I've had similar thoughts even in this game. Like let's say I want to grind Nex or Tob or something with other irons. Mm-hmm. Like I thought it'd be so much easier if I was just in a high level PVM clan, like an Iron Man clan. And there's lots of them out there. But it just wouldn't be the same because I wouldn't know anyone. So like it would be worth it for in game, but like social part is quite huge as well. So that's a big choice to like leave a group of people, and it's not one you should take lightly.
Yeah, and it can be hard. It's almost like if you've been chilling for a while, you're almost like the new kid in school all of a sudden, and you might make some friends, but yeah, it could be. I've always been like a very quiet person. I'm very shy in new social situations, and when I get like when I'm the new employee at a new company, I'm usually really quiet for like the first couple of months. It takes me a while to get comfortable. But yeah, anyways, happy to see you back in there and hope things are going well. I love hearing what people do in real life. So if anyone wants to share when they call in, please do, because it's always very interesting. It's one of my favorite parts is learning about the person behind the character. And it's like, wow, this person cleans pools. This person works on like hospital equipment. This person works on air conditioning for like Walmarts. You know what I mean? It's like so interesting. All right. Next, we got Stumpy Nigel. He had written in about some real life lore about, I think it was Ireland, some roads in Ireland, in the UK in general, some roadways and the way bridges and towns were named. It's pretty cool stuff. He also runs a YouTube channel. Definitely check it out. He's got some great quality stuff there. So we're going to play it. Stumpy Nigel, let's go.
Hello, Dills and Heartless. Stumpy Nigel here. I just want to leave you a little message for episode 200. So congratulations on that number. It's really massive to achieve that. So well done. And it's very well deserved that your podcast is becoming as big as it is. It's really nice to see. I've been listening since about 2018. And it's been a really important part of my RuneScape journey, as it were. Quick note for Dills, the pronunciation is Ardoin, not Ardone or Ardogne. But it's okay. Mispronunciation of words is your signature move at this point, and I think we all love to hear it. Congratulations on the baby. Keep up the good work to both you and Heartless. It's great to hear you chatting about RuneScape every week. And here's to the next 200 episodes. See you later, lads.
Thank you very much for that, Stumpy Nigel. Appreciate, always love. I love when the good old pronunciation is pointed out, and it dates far back than. Well, let me just show you. I'll give you an example. Episode 61.
Then again, I'm not really picky. I'll face anybody as long as you're not going to rush me for the most part. Like I've found D-Harrock fights, but like they just wouldn't skull.
The old D-Harrock.
Any D-Harrockers?
D-Harrock. I had a friend, and that's how he pronounced it. And I played RuneScape with a lot growing up, and some of these names just stuck. D-Harrock.
Jesus, Dills. Yeah, that's bad. You've had some really bad ones. It's usually one per episode.
Yeah, they're probably some. I can't, like the bloopers beforehand, I can barely speak English. English is like not my first language, but I don't have anything else to replace it. Stumpy Nigel, thank you so much for your message. Matacause 1. Go to your message next. He is the questions master.
Yeah, question king.
The question king. He sends in some really great questions in the email, and always a joy to see them. So here it is, Matacause 1.
Hey, Worldy boys, wild men, whatever you want to be called. It's Matacause 1 from Austria. I've been listening for years now, and I'm so excited every time a new podcast is published. My favorite episode is probably still the skill creation episode, and I hope you do more similar things like that in the future. Congratulations so much on episode 200. It's a massive achievement. One day after my master's thesis and work calms down, I want to take part more in the community, join bingo. Hey, maybe this year. Ganz liebe Grüße aus Österreich, der Wildnis-Podcast für immer. And by the way, that doesn't mean anything bad. I was just saying thank you from Austria. Love you guys.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. Matacause 1, thank you so much for sending that in. I was like sitting there being like, is he translating the first half of the message, or should I run this through Google Translate?
Yeah, just for our deep Austrian listeners, for sure. I'm sure.
That's amazing.
It's cool to see like how people like all over the world listen.
It is. Nice. It's crazy, and it's like RuneScape is such like a. I'm sure maybe there's a lot of MMOs are global games, but it is very neat to hear when someone's like. Again, it comes back to like maybe about their personal life. I love hearing about who the individual is, and it's really cool to hear like all the individual lives. Like sometimes we forget there's all these individuals living a completely unique life behind their character with 1,000 kills at bandos or
yeah, whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
Yeah, that's really sweet, isn't it? Yeah, I really like this segment so far. Well done, Dills.
I wish I could. I just set up the app. So anyways, we got 3 more to go through. Zach, Lewis,
Hey guys, I'm a 15-year RuneScape veteran, and I've been looking for a new podcast to listen to because I've been listening to a couple NBA podcasts because I'm big into sports. That's actually my degree is a bachelor's of science in sport management. I'm from Metro Atlanta. I've been playing RuneScape for 15 years, and I'm actually currently trying to max my RuneScape account. I actually just got 90 runecrafting today, 2267 total level. So I've got 9 runecrafting levels left and 1 mining level. But I just listened to the 199th episode from you guys, and I'm excited to listen to the 200th. I'm definitely going to go back and listen to some of the older episodes, possibly join the Discord or the clan, because I'm always looking for more people to play with, because I currently only have 4 other friends that play, and one of them's an Ultimate Iron Man, one of them doesn't play a whole lot, but I look forward to listening to some of the past episodes. I started listening while I was at work. I can usually listen probably 5 or 6 hours a day, so I'll probably go back and listen to a bunch of old episodes. And yeah, you guys have a new fan in me. My RuneScape name is Home, Home, space, Run, RUN 26. And I look forward to listening and hopefully hearing me on the next pod.
Yeah, he's got a sick account. Really close on the maxing grind there. I'm telling you, the big 3, man. At least he's got agility out of the way. That's cool. You should definitely come and join the Discord and the clan because there's tons of people to play with.
Yeah, it's like the Discord and the clan has like caused me to be like re-excited. Like I definitely would have quit because I never really had real life friends that played RuneScape. Deegan was my brother and he would play a bit, but he also had his own friends he played RuneScape with in game. So we didn't really play that much together, to be honest. We did sometimes, but I never really had my group of friends, and so it caused me to quit a bunch. And then I started the podcast, and then I made a bunch of friends, and then the clan chat and the Discord people just started joining it, and now I've met so many people that it's like the people themselves keeps me coming back. That's why I'm making other accounts when I don't feel like playing my main, but I still want to play RuneScape. And I would say that for anyone, you don't even have to join like our Discord, but join a Discord or join a clan chat if you're playing by yourself, and it's okay to hop around until you find the right one. I mentioned before, like with Dungeons and Dragons, how I play with my college group and I just didn't really have fun there. I was still friends with all of them. It's just the way they played D&D didn't fit the way I wanted to play D&D. And it just wasn't very much fun. And I thought, this is what D&D is. It's not for me. But then I played it with some other people in the Discord, and it was like the most fun I ever had. And I was like, oh, I really do like D&D. It's just I got to find the right group of people. It's the same thing with like finding clan chat. Like you just have to find a clan chat you really like to hang out in, and it'll cause you to be a lot more addicted to the game. So
I mean, Dills is just being nice. You have to join our Discord.
It's mandatory.
A link is in the description.
Yeah, we'll be looking out for the quote. Zach Lewis has joined the Discord server. Okay, thank you so much for that message. Next, we have Mr. Teds. I was mentioning earlier how I like to take inspiration from other shows and put it in here. A big inspiration from the beginning of the show was the Instance podcast,
which is a World of Warcraft podcast.
And I used to love that show. It was one of my first podcasts I ever found. I think I started listening to it in like 2007. And when I was starting this show, I was like, I found a lot of the format of the show was very similar to the Instance. I didn't intend for that to happen, but then I was just like, this is how I envision it. And really, I was just envisioning the World of Warcraft podcast, but with the RuneScape theme. I bring that up because me and Mr. Teds, myself and Mr. Teds had been talking. Who also listens to the Instance, and he turned me on to the morning stream, which is done by the same host of that show, but it's more of a general themed podcast, which is really great. And spoiler alert, we have a bonus episode coming up after this one between 200 and 201, where I definitely but I was heavily inspired by a segment they do on there. So we did it ourselves. Okay, Mr. Ted, take it away.
Dills and Heartless, hopefully I didn't record this too late for episode 200. John here, also known as Mr. Teds, King Teds, some variation of Teds in the CC. Dills, I want to thank you for making an awesome informative, entertaining podcasts for the Wild Boys community. Heartless, thank you for constantly dropping those Iron Man knowledge bombs. Also, shout out to the Wild Boys CC. Thank you for giving me people to talk to in Graz while I'm playing my PK or my Iron Man. Always good to see you guys. Thanks again. Peace out.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Teds, for that. It's been great. And even just having someone who can connect with the Instance podcast, and that I was super into. It's really cool to find those connections. And
nice.
Yeah, and Heartless, you really brought in that Iron Man, the Iron Man energy, I suppose. It was always mains on the podcast, and it's good to see like things from the eyes of like an Iron Man who's also grinding through it all at this point, right?
Yeah, no, it's definitely nice to have different perspectives for sure. So I really miss when Magpies was on too, because he was honestly at such a high level of gameplay. Like,
yeah,
you guys think I'm good at Magpies is just on like another level. Very impressive player.
Yeah, I remember one of the reasons why I invited when Deegan had quit, I went to Magpies because we held an OSRS trivia competition, and he was so good at it that he actually had to be like disqualified because he was
to be DQ'd. So good.
He didn't actually get DQ, but he stepped down because he was like he was like a wiki editor as well, and he just knew every answer to every question. He was like, I'm going to stop doing that because it's less fun. And then I was like, wow, you're really knowledgeable. Well, Deegan stepped down. Would you like to join the podcast? So some good stuff there.
Yeah, I miss Magpies.
Oh, he'll be back. They always come back, don't they?
They sure do.
All right. And finally, Mr. Climb On, another veteran of the of the community we have in game there. It's funny, a lot of people of these names that I recognize from years and years ago, they'll
finally putting a face to the name.
The community, it's a lot of people, of course, a lot of people play this game and they quit or they take a big break. But it's funny, a lot of people quit and then they come back and then they realize the clan chat's dead, or what's now is actually the friends chat, and they see nobody's in it. And they're like, oh my God, maybe what happened? And then you find out weeks later, they realize everyone migrated over to the clan chat with this big update, which is very confusing to anyone who goes back to listen to the older episodes. Going back to Zach Lewis, you mentioned maybe going back to the earlier episodes. Some of them are pretty rough. I was listening to some of them, fine clips, and some episodes I got really, really bored listening to myself. I was like, this is how the hell did anyone ever listen to these earlier episodes?
Hey, Dills and Heartless. This is Climb On from the clan chat. I've been a long-time listener and still look forward to every new episode. I appreciate the community you guys have created. It's given all of us a more engaging experience with this game we've basically grown up with. Since Old School is nearing its 9th anniversary, my question is, what's your fondest memory of the game in its early days? I know you guys have discussed this in the past, but I'm sure there's something we have yet to hear. I've been playing pretty consistently since 2004, and I'm curious as to how similar all of our early game experiences are. Once again, we all appreciate you guys. Thanks.
So the story that sticks out is when I showed my grandparents pornography, because I was trying to show them about real world trading. No, that's not quite. The first thing that that stands out to me, I'll tell the quick story of my newbie days back when I played like 2004, 2005. I was way too trusting in this game, and I would meet people and we would talk on the phones, we would share accounts, and they would hack me. And this would happen like over and over and over again. And sometimes the same person would hack me like 4 times because they promised they wouldn't do it the second time. And I was like, okay, here's my password. And they would steal it. But this one guy, his name was Chris. His account was Nuff Seds. If anyone sees a Nuff Seds out there, I want my D medium helmet back. We both wanted to deck ourselves out in some really cool cosplay, some really cool like fashionscape, which this is what we thought was cool fashionscape. It was going to cost us like a couple mil, which was a lot back then. And this consisted of a D medium helmet, a black mystic top, dragon plate legs, and a Zamorak kite shield, right? You can picture that. That would look pretty epic. That's what we worked towards. And and I finally I had a D medium helmet, I had Black Mystics, I had a Gothic shield, not quite Zamorak, I couldn't afford it yet, and then I had Zamorak plate legs instead of Dragon plate legs. And he had my password, and he logged on and cleaned my account out and stole it all. And then he said his brother did it, but then he showed up wearing basically the exact setup that I was trying to work towards. We kind of planned it together so that it wasn't super sketch, but I was like, dude, like, you're the only one who knew my password. He's like, yeah, my older brother, I left it logged on and my older brother stole everything. And I was like, okay, well, here's my password one more time. Just make sure your brother doesn't do it. And he probably hacked me again after that. I don't quite remember, but yeah, that was rough. I cut so many magic logs every day after school to afford that gear setup, and it just got stolen. Oh man, traumatic. What's the
Painful.
Do you got any stories when you think of like 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007? Is there any like short stories?
Yeah, some pretty funny ones.
You jump right into?
So I used to grind U's. That was my thing. Like,
you were the U boys. I was Magic Trees.
a U. I only played free to play. I didn't have membership. So I would just grind U's.
Oh, can I ask what U trees you cut?
Yep, U trees down in Remington, and I'd run all the way back up to Falador and bank them.
Nice.
Send.
I was I did the 3 Magic Trees south of Sears Bank.
Oh, that was my dream, dude. Oh, that was my dream. I wish I could have been there.
We always feuded with the 4 Magic Trees that were by the Legends Guild. Anyways,
yep.
Continue.
That's actually hilarious. So anyways, it was quite a hike, but I found those ones were less botted than the ones near where the GE currently is. So it was probably less efficient, but I wasn't fighting against other people. And I met this friend there. He was basically doing the same thing as me. And I imagine he was the same age as me because we talked about like school and stuff. And then we eventually afforded some gear because we would cut U's together after school. So we picked up some like, we were pretty ballin' back in the day. We had like Saradomin. I know he really liked the Gothic, so he was wearing the full Gothics. I mean, we'd rock around with our colorful
in free to play.
In free to play.
Wow.
We were big pimping back in the day.
Wow.
And then we started hanging out with these 2 girls. This is my first RSGF.
Nice.
Here comes the story, Dill. So we would hang out with them and then we stopped chopping U's. We got lazy and we started hanging out with these girls every day after school. I can't remember what their name was. There was one of them. We basically had a girlfriend each, and I think her name was like Kira or Kyra or something. But anyways, we would chat a lot about school. I think we were in grade 5 or 6 at the time. And we ended up adding each other on MSN, and we would like chat. But then one day my friend stopped playing as much, so he wasn't around. So, and then this girl that I was, my RuneScape girlfriend at the time, also started. I could see she was online, or she's like in different worlds. So I went to like go and see her, and I was like, and then she's hanging out with some other guy. Noticed the man had a Santa hat on.
Oh no!
Yeah, it ripped me. My Saradomin was no good anymore. I needed some untradables, but I couldn't afford them. So that was the end of my first online relationship deals.
Oh no!
It was fun though. It probably lasted like, I don't know, a few weeks. It's not bad for grade 5,
That's
one of my memories. It was quite enjoyable. Yeah, I had a good time. I loved grinding U's, man. There's like, it's so inefficient, but I just had so much fun down there. Take like what? You get like 3 inventories per hour, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I'd wear my full armor, so I'd run out of energy so quickly so I'd just walk back to the bank.
That's
absolute
funny.
Legend. Yeah, those are the days.
The RuneScape, the RSGF is an all too common story. It's funny. I've probably told this for like a Valentine's Day. This could be like a Valentine's Day special. We're a little bit after that, but I was in free to play I had a pure mage that I would fight people in Varrock with, and I saw these 2 people like talking in one of the houses on the 2nd floor of like the general store. And it wasn't the general store, it was a random house. And I remember I saw them and I was like following them around, and then we went up there and then we were all chatting. And then I was like, I'm going to impress them by logging on my main. So I logged in on my main and I showed up, and the girl was like, oh my God, that's your account? That is so crazy. And I was like, yeah, like that's my pure, like I thought it was like
70, like level 75 combat.
Yeah, I thought it was like the hottest
full
shit.
rune.
Yeah, exactly. Full rune. And And then she was like, I have some friends that she would introduce us to. And I made friends with the dude that was there, and I made friends with her. Her name was Haley. His name was Matt. And then she introduced me to this girl. Her name started with a J. I don't quite remember what her name, like Jacqueline maybe. And then there was another girl named Emma, and the three. And I remember they wanted me to call them. And I went to the corner store. My dad gave me some money to get one of those calling cards to call long distance. So I had to get a calling card from the convenience store, punch it in, and then I had
quick aside, how cool was going to the corner store when you were like 12 and under?
Oh, they had everything.
Like, it was just the best experience going there with $5 and just buying 5-cent candies. What? Maybe you could have a little bit of money. You could get a Slurpee as well from 7-Eleven. Oh,
and
those
they had
were
like
the days.
snapbacks, and sometimes they had like DVDs you can rent. And there was always, again, that corner would have like the porn magazines, and you would you had a friend.
You'd always do a quick slide through.
You had a friend that would be like, "Yo, let me show you something," and you were like, "Whoa, what? Whoa." Yeah, the corner stores were cool. I've always wanted to like talk to someone, do a pod. We'll invite them on a RuneScape podcast, a guy who owns a convenience store. So I always curious, like, how is the convenience store business doing these days now that people shop online, less people are buying cigarettes? You know, you go into the store and it has everything. It has friggin' weed paraphernalia. It has like jerseys and hats, and it has like just everything. I've always been so curious how that business is. So anyways, I picked up a calling card and called these girls. We did like a 3-way call. That's how, if you remember, you would star 69 or something like that. Or star 71. But there was like, you did that and you could connect all 3 calls. And I remember it was like a crazy experience. Just calling someone that you met in the video game was always like super bizarre. But here I am talking to these 3 girls in like the US somewhere. And yeah, that's probably, yeah. And then they weren't as committed to RuneScape as me, so you had to drop them. That's usually how it goes. But me and the other guy that was talking with the girls, we became friends, and I eventually gave him my main account when I quit in 2007. And now I'm playing. This is an old account of mine that is now my main. So a little footnote in the history of RuneScape. All right, guys, thank you so much for the calls. I will. I've grown tired of our intros that we've done, so I want to switch them up. So I may be featuring some of these calls again in the intros because I like when other shows do that. So just a heads up, if you hear yourself again, that's why. Before we wrap things up, we're about to wrap things up. This went on longer than I thought, so good thing we didn't hop into the news. Guys, I had a plan to do a segment on this show. It was going to be a Family Feud style game show with OSRS trivia. I invited 2 other podcasters on to face off. The podcast XP Waste and the podcast OSRS Tryhards. I invited both the hosts from those shows to come on, and I was going to feature it on this episode. We had a really great time, and the recording actually lasted about an hour. I don't want to tack on an hour onto this episode because that's a long segment. So I'm going to drop it as a bonus episode in between episode 200 and episode 201. But it is a fun segment I had planned for this episode, and it was a great time. So, and go check out their podcast, by the way. There's some great shows there. When I was looking for podcasts in 2000 and early 2021, their shows I saw sprung up, and they had stayed consistent, which is awesome. A lot of shows pop up and then they drop off. I listen to a lot of podcasts, so I was always looking for new OSRS podcasts to listen to, and a lot of them would pop up and they would die after a few weeks, which is always like kind of disappointing. But these guys have kept on going. So if you need more podcast content, go check them out. Yeah. Okay. So that is about it. We'll plug in all of our fun stuff. If you want to call in, there will be a link in the description here. It is an app called SpeakPipe that you can record a message and we will play them. And you can retry the message over and over again. You don't have to commit to it. Trust me. I have to do like a call. When you listen to the recording, you can hear my voice first. It took me like 20 minutes to record it because I kept not liking the way I recorded it. So you can keep trying. But yeah, leave a message down below. Tell us a little bit about yourself if you want. Tell us maybe where you're from or what you do, but you don't have to. Tell us a little bit about your account, or you can just say the show sucks. Whatever you want to do. That's
show
fine by
sucks.
me. Yeah, you can just
I'll call in one day and say, "So show sucks. That Heartless guy's the worst."
God damn it, Heartless, son of a bitch! You're gonna call. You'll call in sick one week and then you'll leave a message in. It's like,
yeah, I'll call in sick and leave a message. I should have done that for the Family Feud because I wasn't on it.
yeah, we had planned it and then that was conflicting plans. Yeah, click the speak pipe link below and you can call in. Our email is thewildernesspodcast@gmail.com. The Twitter is @thewildernessrs. Sometimes I retweet JMod posts and then I like to hear your opinions on it. Not super active on there, but if you're active on Twitter, you can follow it if you want. And yeah, our clan in game is Clan Wild. Our friends chat is Wild CC, but definitely that's a lot more dead than the clan. And our Discord is the Wilderness, or discord.gg/the Wilderness Podcast. Yeah, there it is. Next week we got a lot of news to talk about. Heartless, anything before we go?
Dills, are you ready?
No. Yeah, well, let's see.
Are you ready? Spring Bingo 2022 announcement happening right now.
Oh,
wait, the dates have been decided. We will be running the Spring Bingo from March 25th until April 1st. So a week long, starting on the Friday at 6:00 Eastern Standard Time.
Wow. Okay. Wow, that is exciting.
Yep, springtime already. We're
1 month
running
from
it
now.
Yeah, 1 month from now. So the sign-up sheet will be out in our Discord probably 3 weeks prior to the event. Yeah, it just happens to line up with my spring break, which is why we picked to do it this time.
Perfect.
So I can get all the administrative stuff done then. Yeah, so it's gonna be a lot of fun. If you've never played a bingo before, basically what it is you have a bunch of tasks to complete. They're all usually very fun or reward you with a lot of money or experience in the game. For example, get an Armadillo crossbow. That is one of the tiles. There are going to be 36 tiles this time, a 6x6 board. We've amped it up. Some of them are very easy, some of them are very hard. So obviously Armadillo crossbow is a little bit trickier. You need to do a lot of Sarah for that. Example of an easier one that we have on there this time is a Mask of Renewal or a Shaman Mask, which will come from like Ogre Shamans, so some free-to-play angle.
Very nice.
We've got stuff like the Uncut Zenite, where your team's going to have to get 2 drops. So a Zenite Shard from Demonic Gorillas, and then an Uncut Onyx from somewhere in the game. Lord of the Rings, you can do some DKs. There's lots of different things on there. Some really hard tiles. We've switched up this time. We've got some Nex and Nightmare on there. And a spoiler for possibly the most difficult one is the Dragon Hunter Lance is making an appearance in the corner.
Dragon Hunter Lance.
So you will need to get Zamorakian Spear and a Hydra's Claw in order to complete that corner tile. But yeah, it's going to be fun. There's a lot of like easier ones too, just this Black Mask. So it really doesn't matter what level your account is. You'll be able to participate. The teams are huge, so don't think you're going to be like a detriment to your team. We usually do about 15 people per team. So even if you can only play, a couple hours on Tuesday and, maybe a full day Saturday, more than enough to help your team out, because at the end of the day, it's all RNG.
Yeah.
I've seen people put in like an 80-hour week and get nothing, or people spend like 5 hours on mobile and get like 3 tiles done. So like really anything is helpful towards your team, and we balance them accordingly. So if you're a low level or a high level, like everyone is welcome and encouraged to play. It's a great way to meet new friends and get involved with the clan for the first time. And pretty much most people always have a positive experience with bingo. So
people, it's a great time. People really have fun with it, and it's really cool to see. And it's a great way to meet people, and it's a great way to make a lot of money. I think last time every team made over $1 billion amongst themselves. And then, of course, if you're in the top 3, you win a pool of money as well.
Yeah, there were like 13 pets last time too in the event.
There's
I
tons.
think we had about 90 people sign up, and 13 pets. $3 billion probably, maybe more, probably more than that, split across the team. Just wild amounts of fun.
Yeah, and they keep getting better. They're very. It's a lot of fun. It's a big. It's just people really enjoy it. We also will, you're hidden. You can't see the progress of everyone else, but we will have an announcement channel where you can see special and fun updates of like who got the first pet, who completed the first tile. You'll see some cool stuff to get a little bit of an idea without having it completely spoiled. And if you maybe don't want to participate, but you want to be involved somehow as well, you can let one of us know. We have like a bingo committee, bingo support team that kind of sits in the back behind the scenes. And if people have trouble with anything, they kind of help them out. And they also help with posting updates and just kind of work on more of the behind the scenes stuff. So
awesome. Yeah, I've really Weez and I we haven't completed the board, but it's pretty close to being done. We dialed up the amount of team content this time, so there's going to be a lot more opportunities to do like God Wars Dungeon and stuff like that than there was last time. And we took away some of those maybe harder individual tiles and pushed it more towards team-based stuff. But there's still plenty of solo stuff on here as well. Like if you're just grinding at work or whatever on the side, plenty of stuff. One of my favorite tiles that we added was 07 Full Dragon. So that's dragon boots, dragon legs, or dragon plate legs, dragon chain, dragon med helmet, and a dragon longsword. So you have to get all the drops in the game. You don't have to get them yourself, but your teammates can get one of them, and someone else can get another piece, and you put it together to make the tile.
No
so
shield.
There's some pretty fun ones.
Left with the shield.
Well, I don't think there was a shield back then. Maybe Obby shield.
I think the square shield.
That's too hard to get though.
It's pretty hard to get. Yeah, I think that got released with the Legends Quest. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Anyways, it should be a lot of fun. So we're really looking forward to this bingo. Yeah, and of course, we're getting pretty good at running them these days, especially with Weez on stats duty. But we are experimenting with things. So this time we're trying a 6x6 board. So it's significantly more tiles. And it's going to be slightly harder. But of course, last time we had a lot of teams that were all kind of close to finishing. So ideally this time it's going to be a little bit more spread out, but it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's this is like it's like leagues. Every time it's a little bit different, which keeps things exciting.
But the best part about it, which puts a lot of people off leagues, is this progresses your main account in ways that you may otherwise not get to do. So it pushes you to do content that you've never done before. It gets you into group content, things like that. Mm-hmm. So it's always a blast.
Yeah. And if you're someone who's maybe not super socially outgoing, you don't need to hop on voice chat. You don't need to do group content. There's going to be stuff like in the past, there's been like Temperos and Wintertodd.
It's still on there. The classics are always going to be there.
So you can just do your own thing.
It's going to be there. Yeah, you can just do your own thing. If you're a low level Iron, if you're a fresh Iron Man, you could try to help out by going for the Tome of Fire. Surprisingly hard tile for the teams to complete.
Oh, it's rare. Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of fun to be had and a lot of friends to be made. So come exciting. On out on the 25th of March.
Awesome
and
stuff.
Don't worry, the sign up. I'll ping everyone in the Discord when the sign up sheet is ready to go and the board is completely finished.
Yeah, and when the sign up is out, we'll announce it on an episode, and you'll find it in the description. Just it won't be in this description, so keep an eye out for that. Right. Anything else?
No, that's just that one giant announcement.
Amazing. That's very exciting. It happens 3 times a year and people love it. It's great. It's really fun to watch. So guys, thank you so much for following along on this journey, episode 200. Quite crazy. I remember when I hit 100 downloads. I don't remember what episode it was, but I was so excited. I was like jumping up and I was like, oh my God, 100 downloads. It was quite incredible. And now here we are, 200 episodes. And we had almost 100 people last bingo. That's insane. Was it 100? Did we hit 100?
Pretty close. I think it was close. In the mid 90s.
Mid 90s. Yep. Incredible. That's makes me want to throw up. That's amazing. That's fucked. So anyways, thanks everyone for listening and joining along. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little non-news related episode. And yeah, normally do a song of the week here, but I think what I want to do, because I wanted to do this earlier, I forgot. We're going to play a little bit from episode 1 of the podcast. And you can listen to just how janky things were back then. I'll play like 5 minutes of it or so. So yeah. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we will see you soon.
See ya.
Welcome to episode 1 of the Wilderness Podcast, old school RuneScape discussion every week.
I'm your host, Dills, and with me is my co-host, Deegan.
Hey, what's up?
So this is just going to be an introductory episode. Just by the time this actually comes out, you guys can download it. It might be a few weeks late, just the way it all gets processed. So, Deegan, why don't you tell us about yourself?
Hey, guys. I'm starting school on Tuesday, which would be the 5th of September. I play old school. I'm playing WoW with the new expansion. I play Counter-Strike. Yeah, just average guy, I guess.
What are you taking in school?
I'm going in for programming right now.
How many years is that?
It's a 3-year program, so I'm in my 2nd year, but there's I'm at the college right now in this town I'm in, and there's also a university. And I'm probably going to end up doing the program where I take 3 years of school at the college, and then I take a year at the university.
True, yeah. Well, for me, I'm working full-time. I basically just play RuneScape. I'll dabble in other things. I play League of Legends every now and then, and that's basically it. I've been playing a lot of RuneScape the past while. I started playing the old school servers as soon as they first started coming out, but I quit so many times in between, so it's taking me forever to get anywhere. But, whatever, that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, that was pretty much the same for me. I got on, day one, tested it all out, was like, I'll come back one day. And then maybe a year later, one of my friends was on, so I decided to play with them, and, I take my hiatuses, but I always come back.
It's funny, that happens, so often. I was thinking about it, and I think it's because a lot of people who are playing RuneScape played it back in the day as well. They probably got to a high level. My old account was level 110, I believe, and I never got a level 99. I got so close. I got to level 98 strength, and then they took away the wilderness, and I got upset, and I actually quit and gave away my account. But so I never got a 99. So restarting an account, which is fun when everyone's doing it together, but it's kind of rough seeing how you've done it all before. But on top of that, killing cows versus killing abyssal demons that you've done before, it's a lot. It's not as fun. Yeah. And so what I started noticing is I would play a lot, get to a point where I'm starting to get burnt out. I haven't had that much fun yet. It's all just been a huge grind with little payoff. I'd quit. Then down the road, 6 months later, somebody's, mentions RuneScape, or maybe I read it somewhere, and I want to try that game again. I jump back in every time, continue on, then quit after a couple months just because the grind's still, it's just so boring at earlier levels, I find. It's when your account's just so fresh.
Yeah, but I think for me, my account was never that good, up until 2007 when I pretty much stopped playing. I was just a little noob. I'd run around and just talk to people, and I never got anything done. So now on this guy, I'm not a super high level or anything, but I've definitely made a lot more progress on this guy than I have previously on
Yeah, and that's a noticeable change from how it used to be. The no XP wasting mentality. When you said you would talk to people, I remember spending days upon days just wood cutting magic trees in the same world because I knew everyone there, and we would just sit there and talk. There was 5 or 6 people that were all friends. We'd all wood cut there. But I would literally spend every day after school cutting magic trees for 5 hours straight. You know what? That's basically it for the show. Anything you want to say, Derek?
Nothing really. I'm excited for next week, and cool. Hopefully we'll have some people, maybe have some questions or something we can go over.
Right on. Well, till then, this was episode 1. We'll see you guys next week for episode 2. All right, have a good night.
Peace.